Hi everyone, welcome to another Teach to Code with Professor V. So today we're going to add on to our pre-algebra class. To recap, we did a couple of conversions, right? Fahrenheit to Celsius and vice versa. We also programmed the linear equation in here, a little bit of slope. So now I wanted to go ahead and do some geometry. What we're going to do is we're going to build everything, all the methods, into the pre-algebra class, and then we'll go into the pre-algebra test and we'll go ahead and test out these methods. So the first one I wanted to start off with is public double area of rectangle. And into this we're going to take two parameters, one of width and the other of length. So I'm going to go ahead and make the body for these. So the first thing we need is a place to store the area, right? So let's go ahead and do double area. Let's initialize it to 0. And now we're going to do an if statement. So we're going to make sure that the user isn't doing something silly. So I'm going to go ahead and make my if statement, and then I'm going to go ahead and make my else. And all I'm doing is the curly braces, so let me scroll down and show you what I have so far. So what we need to check if width is less than or equal to 0, because the length or width of a rectangle can never be 0 or negative, right? It'll return us, well, if we do 0, we'll have an area of 0, right? Anything times 0, because the formula is length times width, will be 0. And there's no such thing as negative areas, right? So we're going to use the or statement. So if either one of these is 0 or less than 0, it's not going to work. Now what we need to tell to the user is system.out.println, and we're going to say the width and height, or length, length must be positive integer. And what I think we should do is, we'll be fine. The area will be set to 0, so alright. Won't handle the full error, but we'll handle it to some degree, right? So now here is where we're going to do our formula. So if width or length, both of them are greater than 0 or equal to, right? If everything's in the clear, we should just do width times length. Now we still have one more error here by this curly brace because we declared the method a double. So we must return a double, and in this case we're just going to return the area. So the next one let's go ahead and do is the perimeter of a rectangle. So we're also going to have a modifier of public. We will have a double data type because, not all areas are whole numbers, right? Sometimes we have decimals. So perimeter of rectangle. And into this we're also going to have a width and a height. So first thing we need is a place to store our perimeter. So let's go ahead and make our variable perimeter of type double. Let's go ahead and set that equal to 0. Now we're pretty much going to have the same thing in the if statement. So I think we could, for the most part, steal this if statement. Let's go ahead and steal it. Let's hit enter right here so we're right below perimeter. And let's go ahead and paste that in. Oh, I did height, you guys. Sorry, it should be length. I don't know why I have a height on the brain. I'm thinking about triangles. So it's the same concept, right? We can't have a length or width when calculating perimeter of 0 or less than 0. Else, so let's go ahead and build our else curly braces. Perimeter is going to be equal to width plus height, right? We add all four sides. Now the way we could get around this is by saying 2 times height, or 2 times width, right? Because that would be width plus width, right? It's just 2 widths plus 2 times height. Bam. Now the last thing we need to do to get rid of this last error is return a double, because we declared a double data type in our method up top, so we must return the perimeter. Alright, so now let's go ahead and do the area of a square and the perimeter of a square. Now, some of you might ask, why would you do a square when you could really just use the rectangle, right? What's the saying? Every square is a rectangle, but not every rectangle is a square, right? But still, it's good practice for us. Let's just keep going. So, area of square. Now for this one, we just need to put double side because all sides of the square are the same, right? Now we need a place to store our area, so hopefully, this concept is starting to get redundant and repetitive, which is really nice because then we're practicing something and, hopefully something's clicking in your head. So anyways, double area is equal to 0. We need a place to store the value. Now if side is less than or equal to 0, do something, right? So we'll go ahead and program that now. Else, do something else, right? So if side is less than or equal to 0, I think I'm just going to steal this print statement and modify it how I need it. So instead of the width and length, it should just be the side, right? The side must be a positive integer. Else, area is equal to, let me move my cursor out of the way, sorry. Side times side, right? They're both the same side, so we just need to multiply it by itself. Some of you might remember the formula side squared, right? Well, side squared is side times side, right? So, anyways, return area. Okay, so that's how we could do the area of a square. Now let's go ahead and do perimeter. So public, double, perimeter of square. Now let's go ahead and pass a double side. So the first thing we need is a place to store the perimeter, right? So let's go ahead and initialize our perimeter of 0. Now it's going to be the same concept, right? So I think I'm just going to go ahead and steal this if statement here. I could probably just steal the whole thing, but let's keep it step by step. So if side is less than or equal to 0, print out the side must be a positive integer, right? Else, let's go ahead and say perimeter. Now what we could do is say side plus side plus side plus side plus side, right? Add all 4 sides, or we could just do side times 4, which I think is a little bit simpler, right? A little less complex. Now we told our method we would, this is of a type double, so we must return the double, which is going to be the perimeter in this case. So that's how we could do the perimeter of a square. So now the last ones I want to do is a triangle for this video. So let's go ahead and do public double area. Sorry, I have my cursor in the way a lot today. Of triangle. Let's go ahead and so what do we need for the area of a triangle? We need the double base and the double height, right? So instead of length and width, which it's pretty much the same thing, it's the base and height with a triangle. So first thing we need is a place to store the area. So let's go ahead and initialize a variable area of type double. Set that equal to 0. Now if base is less than or equal to 0, so we're also going to do this check to make sure the user isn't doing anything silly. Less than or equal to 0. Because no matter what, when working with geometry, none of these lengths should ever be 0 or negative, right? I mean, how would you give me a negative 1 foot of rope, right? Go get me a negative 1 foot of meters, right? It doesn't exist here in the universe of matter, right? Maybe in the universe of antimatter if we ever discover that stuff. But anyways, so now we should print out, right? System.out.println the base and height. What did I say? Should be positive or must be? Must be positive integer. Alright. And then we're going to go ahead and do our else statement. Else. So the area of a triangle is the same thing as a rectangle, right? It's still the base times the height, or the length times the width. The only difference is we divide it by 2, because if you draw a line in the middle of a rectangle or a square, you're cutting it in half, right? So you're essentially halving the area. Some of you guys will remember it as 1/2 times base times height, right? Well, it's essentially the same thing. So return the area, so that way our method is happy. And then let's go ahead and do the perimeter. So the perimeter is going to be a little bit different, right? So public double perimeter of triangle. So this time we need to add 3 sides of the triangle, and they could all be 3 different lengths, right? So we're going to do double A, double B, and double C into our parameters. So this will take 3 arguments when we call the method. So we need a place to store the perimeter, and we'll initialize that to 0 of type double. Now, if statement's going to be a little bit lengthier than the other if statements we have. I'm going to go ahead and put the else statement right away, so all our body's set up and ready to go. So if A is less than or equal to 0, or B is less than or equal to 0, or C is less than or equal to 0. So it doesn't matter which one they set 0 or a negative number. If the user does A, it's going to catch it and it's going to throw that print statement. If it's B, it's going to catch it. It's going to skip by A. It's going to say, okay, A was 2. 2 is greater than 0. I don't have to worry about that. But then it's going to say B, -1. Nope. It's going to print out that error message for them. So, essentially that's what's happening. So let's go ahead and still this, right? Since we're, it's just the side, right? So the sides must be positive integers. Okay, else perimeter is equal to A plus B plus C. So just take all 3 sides and add them together, right? And then the last thing we need to do is return the perimeter, because we promised our method it was a type double, so it will not let us get past that. So if I went a little fast on some of these, by all means, please pause the video and go ahead and write your methods in. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and go to the pre-algebra test. Ooh, I have an error. Where do I have an error? Let me go ahead and save it. Let's see if it goes away. Ooh, it's mad at me for something. Where do I have an error at? Oh, I did height right here, you guys. Okay, so if you've copied me on perimeter of a rectangle, I put height instead of length. If you put length, good job. Give yourself an A for the day, because you didn't make the same mistake I did. If you copied me, well, you made an error like your professor, and you know what? None of us are perfect, and we're all here to learn, even if I'm learning from myself sometimes. So, awesome. So now if I save it, the error should go away. Oh, beautiful. We don't like to see errors as programmers, right? All right, so we're going to go ahead and leave our slope and all this stuff. Let's just go ahead and comment this out. So to comment the big chunk of body, you're going to do slash and star. You don't have to comment these out if you don't want. Okay, so slash and star will make it a comment, and then star and slash will close the comment section. So right now, none of this code exists except for us, because we can read it as the user. We just want to print out our new method. So the last time we were working with the main class, we created a pre-algebra object. We called it PA, right? So that's what we're going to keep doing. So here I'm going to set myself up with 6 print statements. Oops. I'm just going to go ahead and put the parentheses, parentheses, geez. And I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste the print statement 6 times. We did 6 methods, so we're going to test 6 methods, right? Okay. So the first thing we did was a rectangle, right? So rectangle area. And then we're going to concatenate, and we're going to call our object, which is PA. And we're going to do area of a rectangle. So let's go ahead and pass 4 and 5 into the values of length and width. Next we did the perimeter, right? So rectangle perimeter. And then we're going to concatenate, and we're going to call our value. And this one should be perimeter of rectangle. And we're also going to pass a 4 and a 5. Okay. So now we did a square, right? So square area. Now we're going to go ahead and concatenate, call our object, and then we're going to call area of a square. Let's set it of side 5, I guess. I'm just really picking these values out of my head. So square perimeter, and then let's go ahead and concatenate the value. Perimeter of square. Let's set it also of side 5. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and do triangle area. And we're going to go ahead and concatenate the method value. So we do our object, we call our method, area of triangle. Let's do 3 and an 8, I guess. And then finally, triangle, if I could spell it, perimeter. And then we're going to concatenate, so call our object. We'll call our object user object, and then let's call the method. And into this argument, I guess we'll just do 3, 4, 5. Good old 3, 4, 5, right? That's a well-known triangle to Pythagorean theorem. So let's go ahead and run our program, see if it doesn't blow up. So the rectangle area is 20, which is 4 times 5, right? 20. The rectangle perimeter is 18, which I believe is correct, because 4 plus 4 is 8. 5 plus 5 is 10. 10 plus 8 is 18. Oh, awesome. So next we have the area of the square, which is the side times the side. Oh my gosh, what a goofball. Let me run it again. So the area of the square will be 5 times 5, which is 25. The perimeter of the square is 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5, so that's 5, 10, 15, 20. Beautiful. The area of the triangle is 12, so base times height is 3 times 8, which is 24. Divide 24 by 2, that is 12. And then the triangle perimeter, that's funny, it ended up being 12 too. So 5 plus 4, 9. And then plus 3, 10, 11, 12. So that's it in a nutshell, you guys. Now if we put any negative values in here, in any of the methods, it shouldn't allow us. It's going to return an area of 0. So the width and length must be positive integers. So we could probably put inside of the print statement the width and length of a rectangle, right? To be a little more specific, but hopefully you're getting the idea, right? And if I go ahead and do something in the triangle, let's do -3, or let's even check that 0, right? So the perimeter is 0 because we initialized it to 0, right? The sides must be positive integer. Oops, integers, right? So I have a couple of spelling errors there, and as you work through your program, you would want to make sure all the English is proper and whatnot for the user to really grasp what you're trying to tell them. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give me a like, give me a subscribe, hit the little bell. I'm going to try to upload videos every weekend. I'm probably getting a job very soon again, so returning back to work. And let me know in the comments what kind of videos you guys want to see. What kind of methods should I add here? I'm really doing this for you guys. I gain value by helping people out. There's always going to be a part of me that's a teacher, so it's just something I like to do. I'm going to be making a website pretty soon, and maybe offering a course where there will be some video lessons and some slideshows, a little bit of theory, and I'm going to go into more depth of what programming is and how we can really utilize Java. So I hope you guys have a great day. Leave me a comment with whatever you would like to see. I think the next one I'm going to make is going to be conversions, feet to inches, all that good stuff. So other than that, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.